Sevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nishtaki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad-Bhagvatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankajanaabhaya Nama Pankajamaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangriye. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you once again for joining. We are reading Granth Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 1, entitled The Manus, Administrators of the Universe. So in the last verse, yesterday, we started this chapter, and I must say, as like a child moves in from one class to the other, so we are also like students and children of Lord Krishna and the students of Srimad Bhagavatam. So congratulations on moving to the next canto. So when the journey is very big, but we move krami, step by step, be a sage, page by page. So page by page, verse by verse, we can complete 18,000 verses. And of course, completing 18,000 verses is not our goal. Our goal is to relish every verse. The goal is to not get done with Bhagavatam. The goal is to relish in the association of devotees. So that's what we are doing, trying to do that every day. So a little bit background about Canto 8 before we officially begin. So you have seen this. Srimad Bhagavatam primarily contains 10 subject matters, and it comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. What are those 10 subject matters? Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya manvantara ishanukatha nirodha muktir ashrayaha. So basically, like Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. It's a deity, Krishna. So the first two cantos are like the foundation or the lotus feet. Then comes Sarga, creation, Visarga, secondary creation, which are like the thighs, explained in third and fourth canto respectively. Then we have the Sthana, or in Canto 5th, we discuss the universal creation aspect, in which Sthana means position, based on karma, the upper planets, lower planets, all that we discuss. Then number 6 is protection of devotees, which primarily contains the life of Ajamil, Vritrasur, Chitraketu, we discussed that. Then the famous Prahlad Maharaj story comes, Dev, and then Yudhishthira Maharaj asks about the ideal family life. So now we are moving to Canto 8, which is about the Manvantara. Manvantara we discussed yesterday. It is the period of 1/14th of Brahma's day. So one Brahma's day, which has 1,000 Chaturyuga cycle, and 71 out of that is 71, each Manvantara has 71 or 72 Chaturyugas. So basically, Brahma's day divided into 14 periods is one Manvantara each. And the first is Swayambhu Manu. So that's the topic which Gajendra's story will come, churning of ocean, and the the Vaman pastime also. And then later we'll talk about these later more. So that's, I thought to share this as a brief background, because we are now in the eighth canto, which is like the arms of the Lord. Seventh and eighth are compared to the arms of the Lord, and then it is the story of Manvantar avatars. Because Parikshit Maharaj in the last question asked, Sri Raja Uvacha, kindly explain to me, O Badrayani, we wish to hear about the detail how the. Okay, maybe I moved a little ahead. Okay, so we read till text number 3 yesterday. His Grace Ramya Prabhu started this chapter. So the inquisitiveness and eagerness to hear Krishna Katha. We are very, very eager to hear about Krishna's narrations, which happened in the Manvantar Avtaras. So that's the eagerness of whom? Of King Parikshit Maharaj. Now we have to keep things in perspective. That means out of 12 cantos, 7 cantos are complete, which is about, if you go by the calculations of Shloka, at least 30%, or at least 30 to 40%. That means at least about 3 days have passed. He has not taken any water, no rest, nothing, no food. He is constantly relishing Krishna Katha. And still, to maintain that eagerness is not easy. When we join, when we are, initially the class begins as enthusiastic. After 1 hour, we are okay. When will the class get over? 2 hours? Oh my God, when is Prasadam going to start? If it goes beyond 2 hours, then But here, about 3 days, 3.5 days probably have passed, at least 3 days around. But still, Parikshit Maharaj is very, very eager and enthusiastic to hear Krishna Katha. And Manvantar, amongst the 12 Mahajans, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu. So the Manu Maharaj, which refers to Swayambhu, Manu, and all others were also equally great Mahajans. They were always 24-hour Krishna conscious. So they're not ordinary. Parikshit Maharaj is not interested to hear some stories about Harry Potter or Iron Man or Batman, Spider-Man. He's hearing about Krishna's devotee, which is non-different from hearing about Krishna. In fact, Krishna says, I like when my devotees, Mad Bhakta Pujadika, where my devotees' name form qualities are sung, Krishna loves it more. So with that in the background, let's start reading the chapter. So we read the 3 verses, I believe, yesterday. So today we will start from the 4th verse, Canto 8, Chapter 1, text number 4. And I'm going to share my screen for those who may be interested to look at the screen. Shri Rishir Uvacha Manavosmin Vyatita Sat Kalpe Swayambhu Va Adyaha Adyaste Kathito Yatra Devadinam Cha Sambhavaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shukdev Goswami said, in the present Kalpa, there have already been 6 Manus. I have described to you Swambhu Manu and the appearance of many demigods. In this Kalpa of Brahma, Swambhu Manu is the first Manu. Okay, very straightforward. So this discussion was there yesterday also. And for that, I took this, was compiling some things. So basically, let me share this. Okay. So you see this figure here. It explains the whole thing. Are you all able to see? So one kalpa refers to one day of Brahma. Brahma has one day, one night. So There are 14 Manus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. Each Manu period has 71 Chaturyugas. And what does Chaturyuga mean? Kali Yuga, Dwapar, Treta, and Satyug. So Kali Yuga is 4 lakh or 432,000 years. Dwapar is twice of that. Treta is thrice of Kali Yuga, and Satyuga is 4 times of that. So that combination is called Chaturyuga. So 71 times that pi is this one Manvantara. So each Manvantara has 71 these cycles. And Brahma's one day, not lifespan, one day is called one Kalpa, and that has 71 Chaturyugas. So that means 71 times 71 times 14 times 4 Chaturyuga. That's 1,000 Chaturyugas. That comes to be 4,320,000,000 years. So not to complicate with the mathematics, but the point here is the first Manu was Swayambhu Manu. And right now we are here. We are in the 7th Manu. And in the 7th Manu, there are again 71 Chaturyugas. So we are at the 28th cycle of Chaturyuga. That means 28th Kali Yuga in that Chaturyuga pi. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Kṛṣṇa only appear once in a day of Brahma. So we are so fortunate. Out of billions of years, we are just few hundred years away from Lord Chaitanya's appearance and just few thousand years away from Lord Krishna's appearance. So, and then there is a night of Lord Brahma, and that's the Rasa Leela period. So I just thought this picture really explains things very clearly. Any comments, questions, additions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So in one day there is 14 Manus. So in other days of the Brahma, another 99 days, also the same Manus or different Manus coming?
Not 99 days. He also has 365 days in 1 year, and like that, 100 years he lives.
Yes.
So
each
yeah.
day different Manus or same 14 Manus keep coming back again and again?
If I answer that, that would be my speculation. So I don't know the answer, but here it is mentioned in this Kalpa of Brahma, Swayambhu Manu is the first. So maybe same, maybe different. I'll not speculate that. If someone knows, can please answer that. And this is about this Brahma, the four-headed Brahma. And again, Brahmas are also different. So we can only understand what we can little bit understand. After all, Brahma just said, we read in 10.14, I can't understand. Good luck to those who are trying to understand. But we should try a little bit so that we know we can't understand. Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu wants to say something.
So, Swayambhu Manu is his expansion of Brahma, or he's the son of Brahma?
Well, son is kind of the expansion of the father. So it's both. Okay. Right? So somewhere Prabhupada has used the word expansion, somewhere son. So it is both actually.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So every Kali Yuga, Mahaprabhu will not come, right? Only in this Kali Yuga.
Correct. That's what is mentioned here. In the 7th Manvantara, 28th cycle. Vavasvat Manu. That's the period going on. Swayambhu Manu is the first Manu. Vavasvat Manu is the current Manu. Okay.
So even Krishna also comes only in this Manvantara, Prabhuji?
Yes, that's what I read. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's why we are extra fortunate. Because he's in other places, many avatars come in different forms and different, but he personally comes. He's not avatar, so he personally comes in this time frame. Okay, let's read the next verse, text number 5. So raise your hand who is very eager and enthusiastic to read today. Okay, Prabhu Prabhu gets the first, and then Vipul Prabhu, and then Rammohan Prabhu. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavata Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Text 5. Akutyam devahutam cha duhitrastasya vai mano dharma jnana upadeshartham bhagavan putratam gata. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Swayambhu Manu had two daughters named Akuti and Devahuti. From their wombs, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as two sons named Jagnamurti and Kopila, respectively. These sons were entrusted with preaching about religion and knowledge. Purport. Devahuti's son was known as Kapila, and Akuti's son was known as Jagnamurti. Both of them taught about religion and philosophical knowledge. Hare Krishna. So here, actually, if you look at the fourth canto, first chapter, genealogical, there it says about, Prabhupada explained about that Kopil Dev was son of Devahuti and Kardama. And Akuti was married to a person named Ruchi, who was really a very austere Brahman. And when Brahma gave him, Swayambhu Manu, because Swayambhu Manu gave Akuti, gave Akuti to Ruchi, he promised Ruchi that after their son is born, he will give it to Swayambhu Manu. So that person, Ruchi and Akuti, they had one son and one daughter. And that son was named Jagnamurti, who was the incarnation of God. And the daughter was the expansion of Lakshmi Devi. So that time, Swayambhu Manu brought that son, Jagnamurti, from them. So here I have one question here, because in that chapter, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Swayambhu Manu had Truti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. But here Prabhupada is mentioning two daughters. So Prabhuji, please explain. Hare Krishna, back to you. Is that or correct?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, in Canto 4, actually towards the appendix in the Bhagavatam, for those who have the hard copy, the whole list of this table is given. Who was the son, daughter, their granddaughter, children, all that is given. So yes, you are absolutely correct. There is mention of Akuti, Prasuti, and Devahuti. So yes. And then there were two sons, Uttanpad and Priyavat. So yes, so we'll go by that. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, please read the next verse.
Pura Bhagavato Kopilasya Akshayasya Bhagavan Yagno Yakchakaro Kuru Daha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. O best of the Kurus, I have already described in the third canto the activities of Kopila, the son of Devahuti. Now I shall describe the activities of Yagnapati, the son of Akuti. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And again, while reading all these names, etc., we have to keep the perspective in mind that we are not reading about some mundane creatures. we are reading about the great Mahajans, Swayambhu Manu and his dynasty. Kapil, and the Lord is appearing in his dynasty. The great souls like Dhruva Maharaj, Prachetas, all those are appearing in this dynasty. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is so eager to hear about this great dynasty, because it is not just dynasty of any Tom, Dick, Harry. It is a dynasty of great Swayambhu Manu, who is the Mahajan, and so many of his, the legacy he followed. It mentioned that whenever he used to get up, he would get up by Kṛṣṇa Katha. He would sleep by Kṛṣṇa Katha, 24/7 Kṛṣṇa Katha. It is mentioned in Canto 3. So in this verse, Devahuti, we read Kardam Muni and Devahuti. Very detailed discussion was there in Canto 3. And then Kapil Dev was born, the Supreme Lord. And then we are at text number 5. So Yagyamurti. Yagyamurti was the son of, who will tell? Yagyamurti was the son of whom?
And Ruchi.
Who?
Akuti and Ruchi.
Akuti and Ruchi. Yes. The Ruchis will come, I guess, further, but here the mother's name is Akuti. Akuti is the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. Okay. Let's read the next verse. Yes, Ramohan Prabhuji, please. Somewhere it's mentioned Yagyapati, somewhere it's mentioned Yagyamurti, somewhere it's mentioned Yagya. So they're all the same. Okay, 6. Sorry. No, we read the Prabhu, you read the 6th one, correct?
Yes.
I read 4th, 5th, 6th. You read.
No, sir.
You have to unmute yourself, Prabhu. Ramohan Prabhu, are you speaking? You have to unmute first.
What's happening here?
Yes, good. That's good now.
Vikrata kama bhugeshu satta rupa pati prabhu vishaya rajyam tapase sabharyo vanam avishtat. Could you scroll up, please, Prabhuji? Swayambhuva Manu, the husband of Satyarupa, was by Nitya not at all attached to enjoyment of the senses. Thus he gave up his kingdom of sense enjoyment and entered the forest with his wife to practice austerities. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam Parampara Pratam Imam Rajasayo Vido, the supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. All the Manus were perfect kings. They were Raja Rishis. In other words, although they held posts as king of the world, they were as good as great saints. Swayambhuva Manu, for example, was the emperor of the world, yet he had no desire for sense gratification. This is the meaning of monarchy. The king of the country, of the emperor of the empire, must be so trained that by nature he renounces sense gratification. It is not that because one becomes king he should unnecessarily spend money for sense gratification. As soon as kings become degraded, spending money for sense gratification, they were lost. Similarly, at the present moment, monarchy having been lost, the people have created democracy, which is also failing. Now, by the laws of Nitya, the time is coming when dictatorship will put the citizens into more and more difficulty. if the king or dictator individually or the members of the government collectively, and scroll up please, Prabhuji. Collectively can maintain the state of kingdom according to the rules of Manu Samhita, certainly their government will not endure. Hare Krishna Bhakti Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, a couple of lessons in this text. Number one, Raja Rishi. This word is very, very important because Raja means king or the master, and Rishi means saintly person. So generally, people don't hear these two words together, Raja and Rishi. But the scriptures are teaching that it's not just to be a saintly person, one has to renounce or like one has to be a celibate or brahmachari or a sannyasi or of course one can be a saintly person that way. And Swayambhu Manu, who is a great Mahajan in the family life, taking lot of responsibility of kingdom and lot of king. Being a king means no easy thing. Any position of leadership means lot and lots of responsibility. But still, he was a great rishi. Why? Because he was not attached to sense gratification, he was attached to Krishna. That is the formula. Because we are all leaders in some way. Everyone is leader. Someone who's leader in a family, someone is leader in a small community, someone is leader in their office. We're all little leaders, tiny Ishwaras. We're all little Rajas in our own way. But if we don't follow the Rishi aspect, now Rishi does not mean to wear the saffron cloth or have like long hair. That's not the Rishi means to have the principles of saint, to have those devotional qualities, to have Krishna consciousness in our life, and not using our senses for sense gratification, but using our senses for Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate, to serve the master of senses. As soon as they would use for sense gratification, they were lost. Very, very important lesson Prabhupada is mentioning here. He was not at all attached to enjoyment of senses. Very important lesson. And as a result, he could easily give up when the right time was there. When the kids are grown up, he has done his part. Now the next person will take. But in this day and age, we see totally opposite. No one wants to give up their wealth. No one wants to give up their position. No one wants to give because everyone wants to enjoy as till the deathbed. So totally opposite situation. But we can still learn lessons from Manu Maharaj or Swayambhu Manu here, that how he was in a great position of leadership, responsibility, service, but at the same time very, very Krishna conscious. So Raj Rishi. Any other comments, additions, questions? Okay, any Matajis want to read next verse? Who would like to read? Kashish Mataji, you want to read? Okay, Samta Mataji wants to read. Yes, Samta Mataji, please. Okay, sir.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Verse 8. Sunandayam Varsha Shatam Padaikena Bhuvamam Sparshan Tapyamanas Tapogoram Idam Anvaha Bharata. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O sign of Bharata.
Hare Krishna.
After Swayam,
Mataji, we were reading 10.14. So that was from that point, actually, it's by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Till 10.13, it's by Srila Prabhupada. So we are on 8th canto now. Yes, please.
okay, sorry. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O sign of Bharata, after Swayambhu Manu, Swayambhu Manu had thus entered the forest with his wife, he stood on one leg on the bank of the river Sunanda, and in this way, with only one leg touching the earth, he performed great austerities for 100 years. While performing these austerities, he spoke as follows. Purport: Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the word Anavaha means that he chanted or murmured to himself, not that he lectured to anyone. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So now he has retired, and retirement does not mean to take a home on the beaches of Florida and to take sunbath. That's what retirement means in US, right? Take some beach home and just relax and take sunbath, and that's retirement. Here we see retirement means more austerity, more active involvement in service, because in the present situation in the family life, one has a lot of responsibilities, kids and job and so many things, mortgage and taxes and this and that. Retirement means simple living and more active engagement in Krishna consciousness. So one should plan one's life nicely so that one does not have to work till the fag end of one's life. At the same time, retire timely so that we, in the last, retirement basically means the last lap of one's life. We don't have much time. If one is, let's say, 60 years, we know there is less time left now. 70 years, less time left. We don't know how much days. I mean, it's true for a 20-year-old as well, but as per the statistical and historical figures, you know what I'm talking about. So the point is that retirement means more active service. That's what Swayambhu Manu is showing here. That standing on one leg and performed great austerities for 100 years. Of course, it was a different, he has a lifetime equivalent to 71 Chatur-yugas. So he's not an ordinary person, very, very long lifetime. But the point is, for a very long time, he did tapas. And Prabhupada mentions this actually, we don't have to, copy paste as it is. We don't have to imitate. We have to follow in the footstep. That means for us, chanting attentively and not letting the mind wander, or even if it goes, trying to come back, trying to bring it back, trying to attentively chant in the Brahmavatars is as good as going to the forest and standing on one. In fact, in the Dhruv Maharaj purport, Prabhupada says it's more than that. Because first of all, we are in Kali Yuga, where Manda Sumanda Madhava, everything is less. Knowledge is less, lifespan is less, intelligence is less, everything, bodies are weaker. So for us, sitting at our home or temple, wherever we may be at, and chanting attentively is great tapasya. And that's the tapasya we must do, and we'll get the same benefit because the yoga dharma is Harinam Sankirtan, chanting of the holy names. And the word actually man comes from Manu or Manava, Manu Maharaj. So it doesn't come from ape or a monkey. It comes from mankind, man, Manu. So the root is our like great grandfather. So let's see what he spoke or what he murmured as per Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So let's hear that. Yes, Kashish. And any other comments before we move on to the next verse? Okay. Yes, Kashish Mataji, you can read text number 9.
Kṛṣṇa Tanvatanam to Bhagavati, text 9. Manur Uvacha Yena Chaitati Vishwam Chaitayate Nayam Yo Jagarti Sharani Asmin Nayam Tam Veda Saha. Translation and purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Well, Kṛṣṇa Mataji, I just mentioned this canto is written by, Prabhupada was present when this translation and purport was done. So this is special Prabhupada. From
This is the
10.13 onwards, his disciples continued. And Prabhupada
okay.
taught his pastimes in this
I'm
world.
sorry.
Yes, please.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Manu said, the Supreme Living Being has created this material world of animation. It is not that he was created by this material world. When everything is silent, the Supreme Being stays awake as a witness. The living entity does not know him, but he knows everything. Purport: he is a distinction between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities. Nityo Nityanam Chetananam Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. According to the Vedic version, the Lord is the Supreme Eternal, the Supreme Living Being. The difference between the Supreme Being and the ordinary living being is that when this material world is annihilated, all the living entities remain silent in the oblivion, in a dreaming or unconscious condition, whereas the Supreme Being stays awake as the witness of everything. This material world is created, it stays for some time, and then it is annihilated. Throughout these changes, however, the Supreme Being remains awake. In the material condition of all living entities, there are 3 stages of dreaming. When the material world is awake and put in working order, this is a kind of dream, a waking dream. When the living entities go to sleep, they dream again. And when unconscious at the time of annihilation, when this material world is unmanifested, they enter another stage of dreaming. At any stage in the material world, therefore, they are all dreaming. In the spiritual world, however, everything is awake. Hey Krishna, back to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading this nice verse. So now Manu Maharaj is speaking, or he is murmuring. So he's not giving a lecture. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that because whom he's going to give lecture. He is basically relishing the glories of the Lord, and within his heart he is praying. He's murmuring. So he's not speaking in a Bhagavatam class, or he's not speaking to his kingdom or to his children or to anyone else, because he is in a forest. And which is the river where he is? River banks. On the banks of river Sunanda. So in the forest, and he is murmuring what? He is murmuring the glories of the Supreme Lord. The first aspect is talking about his transcendental nature, that how he is beyond this material world. He is the one who creates everything. The Lord creates this material world. And then, whether it is material, spiritual, all the living entities, he always remains at the witness. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, hey Arjuna, there have been many, many births you have taken, but you don't remember. I do remember. All these kings also have taken so many births and come and gone. You don't remember. They don't remember. I do remember. That's the difference between Atma and Paramatma. That's the difference between infinitesimal and infinite. So we people, compare, hey, Krishna also was an ordinary person. Hey, Krishna was also like ordinary. That's not the case. Manu Maharaj, the father of mankind, our real grandfather, is speaking this directly to the Supreme Lord. That how, and then also this analogy comes, the two birds, the eating bird, the doer bird, and the watching bird, the two knowers, Kshetra and Kshetragya. always present, but one is infinitesimal, the Atma, and one is infinite, the Paramatma. So the Paramatma is not subjugated to any material modes. So he's not one amongst us. He is present everywhere, yet he's still the witness. He is, when everything is silent, either in the partial dissolution or complete dissolution, he still is there. He is still awake. And then the dreaming aspect is explained in the later half of the purport. So we have to get up from this from the dream and come to the state of awakeness. And what is that awake state of awakeness? Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra bole, Kutta nidra yav maya pishachi rakhole. Till what point will you sleep in the lap of which called Maya? Get up, sleeping soul, get up, sleeping soul. Calling to all of us, hey, sometimes we think, oh, this is real thing, which I am now, Shiv Vilas, or I am an engineer, I am a doctor, I have a home, I have a car. I think this is my real thing. But when I'm in a dream, I sometimes become a king, and I feel, oh, that is the real thing. Oh, I have a lot of people and a lot of queens and a lot of kingdoms. I think that is real. So is that real? Am I in that dream or is this dream? Actually, both are dreams. What is real consciousness? To understand Jiva Sarupa Kṛṣṇa Nitya Das, to awaken the spirit, the sense of connection with the absolute. Because spiritual world, everything is awake. So when we establish that connection, that is the real state of awakening, because that's eternal. Satyam Satyam Param Satyam, Satchidananda. The connection with the bodily concept of life are temporary and illusory. Any other comments anyone wants to add or share? Any questions, additions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. As we are reading this purport of this verse, Prabhupada is saying that Supreme Being and ordinary living being, they are like two different entities. Like he knows everything, but soul cannot do. And similarly, he confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata. So similarly, he has explained there that living entity become, he in the beginning they are in the unmanifested, in the midterm it is in the manifested, and at the annihilated it again unmanifest. So that's the three stages of the human, like human birth, he has explained there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikuji. Any other comments, questions before we stop for today? Next one is a bigger purport, so we'll not be able to complete that today. We'll read that tomorrow. And actually, Kahoot was also planned, but we'll do that tomorrow as well, since we are already kind of out of time for today. Any last comments? I see His Grace Dhopan Prabhu is present. Prabhuji, I'm so grateful and blessed. You want to say something? Okay. Maybe yes. Okay. Any other comments, questions, anyone? Before we stop? Okay, so we can take these lessons from Manu Maharaj, that how he is preaching to basically his own self, murmuring these glorifications of the Lord, which he'll continue to do so. And first it begins with, we have discussed, the first aspect of the prayer is to glorify the Lord, not to ask for, hey, give me this, hey, give me that. We saw that in the prayers of Lord Brahma as well. He wanted to ask something, but he didn't even come to that point until text number 9 in chapter 14. So the first aspect, we go to the temple, we see the deities, we should always glorify the Lord. And these are the verses glorifying his form, glorifying his beauty, glorifying his qualities, glorifying his proprietorship, glorifying his so many qualities. And if so, okay, we will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much to everyone for attending. We will continue with the next verse tomorrow. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Puja Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo. Prabhu, you wanted to say something? Sorry, you raised your
No,
hand.
Prabhu. No.
Oh, okay. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.